Trident Wargaming. Build it, paint it, play it.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Trident Wargaming. We've got another Horus Heresy episode here and a hobby hangout. I'm joined with my co-host Andy.
Hey everyone.
And you guys know me as Bill. And we are joined with two of the gents from the Painting Night podcast. I have Kevin.
Hello.
And we've got David as well.
Hi.
How's it going, gentlemen? Thanks for jumping onto the channel and stopping in for a chat.
Hey, of course. Thank you for welcoming us and all that.
Pleased to be there.
And you guys are on the East Coast here. You guys are in Canada, on Ontario?
Quebec,
all the way.
Yes.
All the way east then.
You know what? I was waiting for you to give us an indication on what is the East Coast. So when you said Toronto, I was like, okay. I know it's a bit further than that. It's fine.
East is pretty much everything past Saskatchewan for us over here anyways, but
okay,
that's all right.
Yeah, usually David is the one pointing me towards the east and west, so
Awesome. I guess start things off, we'll roll into some hobby progress. I guess Kevin, we'll start with you. We'll pick on you first. What have you been working on the last little bit?
a lot of things. I would say if we go in the past 5 minutes, I will go for Imperial Fists. And if we go in the past week, let's say, painting a lot of sceneries for Horus Heresy Zone Mortalis Event that we can explore a bit later. But a lot of terrain, a lot of stuff. And now we are preparing, as of now, I would say tomorrow. So Sunday the 19th, we are doing a test run for all of our scenarios, and I'm assembling a bunch of Age of Darkness boxes
Awesome.
to have a lot of armies available on the table for either newbies or veterans just to come and play with models and test the scenarios.
Oh, excellent.
That's a good way of doing it.
Yeah. And, indulging in all this hobby amazing stuff. It's just an excuse.
Oh, you got to.
Exactly. So that's pretty much what I've been going on between Horus Heresy, a bit of 40K with the new Arcs of Omen books that came out. So I've assembled Angron, did some World Eaters for 40K, preparing for some boarding action games. Of course, a bit of Age of Sigmar on this side because, always has to be a bit of Age of Sigmar. So I'm dabbling in between.
Oh, very nice.
You can see.
The triple threat of systems.
Yeah.
Awesome. Andy, how about yourself? What have you been doing?
As of late, actually today would have been working on some bolt action. Continuing on my Germans. So my desert Germans for a slow grow that I have started up. So doing that, plus still slowly working on the Thousand Suns, and then ended up picking up another tank. Tank today. It's going to be the start of. I think I'm actually going to do a tank army at some point in the future here. So. I'm sure that'll be coming up in another episode, but I got my plans for another army for Heresy with tanks and just trying a different technique with painting and stuff too. So, just that. Also got the white scars on the bench as well. Some more of those Outrider bikes that we showcased on the.
I saw your posts.
Yeah.
Online. I was like, that's a lot of. How do you call mental health risk?
Yeah.
It was an amazing job, but you did so many of them.
So Yes, it's one of those collections I bought off of a local player that he started it, sold it to another player, and then I bought it from that other player, which is a close friend of ours too. And the jet bikes are all done. You know, some infantry, some speeders, characters, and now that the way Heresy has changed, the army changed. So now I gotta fill in the ranks, right? So you don't see Outriders too much on the board.
No.
So I'll be making characters and units with them, right? So it'll be good. Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at, and then of course whatever other hobby I'm in. So many games out there. Bill knows I'm like an octopus. My arms are everywhere in every little game that's out there. So
Yeah.
We love octopuses in the hobby.
yeah. So I just need each arm to be holding a paintbrush is what I need to do. So
There you go.
Have you ever thought of doing an army of Idonet Deepkin?
no, I haven't. I actually haven't. That's the one system I'm not. Is Age of Sigmar, but
It's an army of octopus. Like, I just thought it was fitting your team.
yeah, I remember the one character has the little like octopus holding the book or whatever it is, but
Yeah.
no. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
That's all right. Awesome.
Yeah.
David, how about yourself? What have you been up to the last little while?
Well, we're preparing our scenarios, so I had to paint a table. So for the hangar in the Zone Mortalis, we're using the Forge World, an old Forge World Realm of Battle. So
Okay.
I started with Kevin's help to do the base coat, but then all the details I had to paint. And that's where you see that those tables are kind of old because there are like little holes in them, and it's not well done everywhere. But it's a beautiful table once it's painted and once you get to see the details in it.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of those older kits, they really come to life once you go that extra little detail step. It takes a long time, that's for sure, but it definitely will pay off. I can't wait to see pictures.
I just varnished them, and then my whole office is smelling varnish now.
Hardcore.
Might help for
That's how
this
you know that
podcast.
we're working hard. Mine is smelling like primer, and yours is smelling like varnish.
That's all right. Good progress then.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And then after that, I have a boat from Blood and Plunder waiting there to be painted,
Oh yeah.
and some 18mm Napoleonic soldiers.
Oh, that's cool.
Very nice. That's all right. What systems are the Napoleonic for?
We're currently playing General d'Armée from Two Fat Lardies.
Okay.
I always find that I don't know, that name is kind of weird.
Two fat lardies? Yeah.
Two Fat Lardies in English, but General d'Armée in French, so it seems like it's polite in French, but the name of the company is kind of mean, or I don't know.
That's awesome.
They got quite a few different systems.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I played. I think they did Bag the Hun as well, which was World War II aircraft
Ooh.
kind of game. So, but yeah, there's a couple guys in the community that have mentioned that name before. So, but systems are pretty good, I'd say.
Yeah,
So-
it's really fun to play.
Yeah, David
Nice.
is our test guy for all the indie games
Oh, that's
on the
awesome.
podcasts. Yeah.
Oh, very nice, very nice. I guess for myself, it's been a little bit kind of all over the place as well. I've been working on some bolt action. A bunch of my 3D printed stuff came in earlier this week. Just trying to get that ready for slow grow, and then I've been busting it up for all my heresy stuff. Basically, punched out an apothecary, converted one up, did a bunch of assault marines, finished up my Templar brethren, and then I pushed out that converted Sigismund today. I kind of got the rest of the little bits all done. Been posting pictures as I've been going along, which has been a lot of fun. And then much like yourselves, I'm cranking out on terrain. I'm trying to get everything up and ready for our event coming in mid-April. So it's just nonstop, man. It's always a grind.
The grind never stops, right?
No, it definitely never does. Definitely.
Sometimes you
never
get a little bit of a lull after like a large event,
no.
but then you just deep dive right back in, right? So
That's when you change system and you go back to something a bit easier, right?
change of pace, yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, it's a good way, I think, of going about it when you're taxed out on one system just because you had a binge of a weekend playing in a tournament and you got like 6 games in or something like that, or you took a road trip or something. So
Yeah.
definitely.
Talking about road trips, I guess we should come to one of your events at one point.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
I might come with David since I have trouble with East and West, so I may need a helper.
Awesome, that'd
just
be great.
to make sure I don't finish somewhere in like the north.
I think I also need to help him pack because he's gonna forget some too much clothes. And
I'll show up in jeggings and one shirt.
We'll tell the navigators to send out the signal.
If you have a lighthouse, that might help.
No doubt. Yeah, it could make
You'll
it do
You'll
something.
just see the big Trident signal in the skyline.
Just
Like
like
that.
the Pharaohs, right?
Yeah.
There's
awesome.
a couple different guys I've been talking to about the potential of trying to do almost like a cross Canada crusade or just something where you can get a bunch of different communities involved. So we'll definitely be chatting again about it, I'm sure.
Oh, I would say that you can find willing participators with us. Everything that smells like league, campaign, narrative, across, or ocean is all good for us.
Excellent.
So we always like those kind of projects. It's always cool.
Oh, perfect.
I'm going to write that down, Bill, that Cross Canada Crusade. I like the sound of that.
Do it. Oh, we'll be expanding on that for sure. I guess, Kevin and David, why don't you tell us a little bit about your little podcast, The Painting Night, kind of how you guys got started.
Do you want the PG version? Because if yes, then David has to be the one saying it.
No, it doesn't matter.
No.
We're all good here.
Okay. Yeah. So, David, do you want to start or do I go?
Yeah, go.
You seem so shaky.
He's already doing the face palm.
Love it. Basically, we've been talking about doing a podcast for, I would say, before the pandemic, because we've all been friends for a long time. I was a Games Workshop employee for 10 years, so I got to meet David and Phil and Max through the store as I was working. And I was organizing in that store every Monday night a painting night. And the goal was to get people in and just enjoying the hobby. So if there was anyone new, they had a cool group that would be inclusive and welcoming them. And if it was veterans, then it would give them an excuse to actually get out and paint stuff. And as time went on, we became friends and organized little tournaments, little activities, little stuff. And when I left the store and the pandemic hit not too long afterwards, I would say maybe a year or two, we kept contact through Discord and whatever channel we were using as painting night every Monday night. And it became a regular thing. And through that, we met a lot of people. A lot of people were adding themselves to the Discord, meet a lot of new people and enjoy different things in the hobby. And our role, I would say the four of us, pretty much became more of a, how can we include people and make them feel welcome and inspiring them and motivating them into, let's say, the big hobby, not just playing, not just painting, just how can you include that many people into what is the hobby? And we were talking about doing a podcast, and at one point during the pandemic, Max came to us and was like, okay, guys, could we do a podcast? I think we could. Like, we're doing basically a podcast every week. And that became the thing. So we created it and we record every week. We have pretty much 3 segments, which is talking roundtable like you just did, what happened in our hobby lately. Then we have a main topic which we develop. It can be anything from, I would say, why are points important or not? Fully painted armies or half-painted armies. What is fun in a tournament? What is fun in a narrative campaign? Interviews, like we're doing pretty much right now.
Yeah, right.
So interviews, and then at the end we close up with, in English, I would say it would be something like David educates. It's a running gag in the group that David is an historian by formation, so his diploma is in that, and I am the educator. So that's my job. And I always complained that every time that David was trying to show us something about history, about historical war games, he was always trying to educate me or educate us in the group. So we created this segment that would be David educates us. The audience and us as co-workers, colleagues,
Well,
friends.
that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. And David, if you have anything to say for your defense, for the
Well, as Kevin said, we wanted to engage people, get more people in the hobby, but we also had this other goal of exploring the hobby, and I think what was important was to give information and give snippets to people of things they might not see, because Game Workshop is a big part of the hobby. It's like 80% of the market, or something around that. But there we talked about Two Fat Lardies, our other company, other games, and I thought it was important to talk about that. And in our topic, try to get other information from other games. Just an example, talking to our audience about games with command and control and how it can play and how it changed the way you play and give you fun that you might not have with other games and make you explore other things. So having this main topics where we try to get information, and then David educates us the other one where I'm going to focus on either an old book from Warhammer or another game I just tried. I think it gives
or magazines.
Or magazines.
There's a lot of magazines. David loves his magazines.
Well, that's good. It's nice to do kind of like, I guess it's like a spotlight segment where you kind of get to show all these different systems. We're definitely we're no strangers to that aspect. We've done a lot of that on our own as well. So that's awesome to hear. It's great to see other people doing that.
And one of the other things that I think it was without saying it, but it was between the four of us. We encountered a lot of tournaments, a lot of match play point of views, which was all about the organization charts, the points, the updates, like we have right now, basically. And as you know, guys, and maybe people listening to us, Games Workshop, once upon a time, was not giving as many updates on the points, and you had to wait for your codex or your army book to come out in like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And the rhythm, the pace of things, and the recruitment of people in the hobby has been very big on how you could do conventions and tournaments in big size across the world. And for us, we wanted to, again, spotlight another part of the hobby that is maybe a bit more about how can you create a narrative? How can you focus on, yes, there's points, yes, there is organization charts, yes, there's tournaments, but there's also campaigns, creating stories, focusing on what is the rivalry between your army and his army or her army, and developing on that and playing differently. So the objectives can be something completely different than just accumulating points every turn. So that's what we wanted to explore and showcase, because Games Workshop is not doing it as much as it once was.
Mm-hmm.
And David is great with that because, first, he's trained, like he went to school for that. Not saying it's the only reason he went to school. It was to create this podcast.
Well, there's a lot of, and I know Bill has done it too with like creating missions. You can make a lot of thematic and or kind of story based scenarios, right? even in just having those round robins, like you can actually make a theme and a story to your event, right?
Absolutely.
To your campaign or whatever. And because I remember you had that one mission where you had the actual planet actually affected both armies. It was like a Xeno
it was Planet P
kind of thing. Yeah, Planet P.
Yeah.
And so every turn, you could have lost Marines because this thing is reaching out and trying to grab you and kill you, pretty much.
Yeah.
So, but your objective was like to literally, stop the opponent from getting this objective, but the objective is around like the hive mind thing of this planet, and you also have to survive, right? So
both things at the same time.
Exactly, right? It's like the third party in the fight, but nobody has control of it. So, but yeah, for sure, that's a great way of looking at the games again. Well, especially like this whole shift of either going with the thematic or narrative or like just regular kind of tournaments, right? First place kind of tournaments. It's a bit of a change. It's has its place, and there's a lot of merit to the individuals doing these and trying to create these kind of narrative events and stuff. So, and I can see a little bit of the shift here as well, right? Like we're definitely looking at campaigns. More so we have in the past, but now I think it's going to be a lot more prevalent, especially with the increase of players, right?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
One thing we do sometimes on the podcast, and we love doing, is taking scenarios from other games, and so most of the times bolt action, and adapt them to.
Can you see historical wargaming creeping in?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
But Warlord once they published on their website a scenario that I think it's called the Black Baron. So you were talking about your tank army, and we tried on our podcast to read the scenario and then adapt it if it was in 30K. So which tank we would use instead of German tanks or British tanks.
Oh yes,
really fun.
Nice.
Yep. It's funny you mentioned that because I had done a tank war for bolt action. I did actually 2 of them. I think it was last year, and I talked to Bill and I was like, we should do one for Heresy, where everybody can bring out their toys and have the 6-on-6, 6 loyalists, 6 traders, just going at each other with their big boy toys and their tanks, and create a scenario kind of thing, right? So, it's pretty cool to hear that and like looking at other games. We've even looked at like older rules, older scenarios from like Armies of Death or Cities of Death. That's the one.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff, right? So there's a lot of information and tools from different games, different books, and just plain old history, right? Like, as you know, you go on the internet and you can find just everything.
Oh yeah, and even using like, let's say Horus Heresy. Let's talk Horus Heresy. The old black books. It doesn't take much to take the black books from the first edition and just tweak them.
Yeah.
Tweak them a little bit. They had system for campaigns in there. They had ideas that you could develop on. They had rules. You have everything in those black books to do again in second edition. It doesn't need that much. Yes, the points might have to be shifted a little bit, but let's put that on the side. All the scenarios, all the stuff in there is still worth every penny or whatever money you use.
Yeah,
no, it's true. It's true. They were rich. They had a ton of different source material in it, and I think that was probably one of the best things about those books was those campaign sections. I know the Thramas Crusade was probably one of my favorites to go through and read, and just like trying to get everything brought that way for events and everything locally is a nice shift, and it's nice to hear you guys are doing the same. It's almost been kind of taking me back to when I first started in tabletop, where it was always Friday night, Saturday day gaming, and we had these campaigns running in the store. A bunch of local players would meet up, and that's even where I met Andy long time ago. And today we're still rolling dice, right? It's crazy. Like I think about how many people I've met and still talk to when I was 12, 13, 14 years old, and like this is over 25 years of gaming. And we're still gaming, like we still know each other. We're still playing games. It's phenomenal.
And at the same shop as well.
Yeah, going to the same store. Yeah,
the same shop.
Yeah,
from 25 years ago.
Yeah,
yep.
That in itself, I would say, deserves a prize.
Yeah,
Comic Fever here in Edmonton, man. If you're ever here in Edmonton, come and check out Comic Fever. It's an old friend of ours, kind of like a father figure almost. And
wow,
yeah. He used to game with us too, and always had tables for us, and just great for the community, right? So,
but you see, that's a thing. I think that sometimes we forget. Either when we grow into the hobby, right? Like we get into it and we grow into it and we get older and all that. Sometimes I think we forget that it's a game, and you play, and play is, in a sense, a bit more childish. It's okay to enjoy things as with an innocent, a childlike kind of mind, just enjoying things for what they are.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very true.
Sometimes we get very serious about changes in lore, changes in rules, changes in all that. But sometimes I think it's okay to go back to roots, and it's a game. Enjoy what you enjoy in it, and the things that you don't enjoy. When we were kids, I don't know for you guys, but changing rules when you were playing a board game was not an issue, right?
Yeah.
No, it's true. You were just more interested in playing the game. It didn't really matter.
Exactly. It
your
was
imagination.
about the experience with your friends. You were trying to build a good experience. You both wanted to leave that store that you were going to when you were like 12, 13, and both having fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can still do the same thing now.
Yeah. Bill had a lot of fun playing his Ruptures, Dark Angels.
It sounded like you were having a bit less fun against the Dark Angels, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, it was good times. That was the first time I met Bill, as he stepped on my Black Templar's doorstep, and he had a very small force, because in this campaign it was your army got whittled down, so you only had so many points to go into battle.
Yeah,
and he was the Fallen.
Yeah, I actually turned and joined Chaos.
You were playing the Fallen?
I had a full Dark Angel Loyalist army. I played a Chaos guy, and he was about to wipe me, and he's like, I'll leave you alive if you join me and you become the Fallen. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. Oh. So I became the Fallen instantly. And
but you see, that's what I mean.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Amazing.
Yeah. And it was awesome, because a close friend of mine at the time, before I even knew Bill, was playing Dark Angels as well. And was actually trying to hunt him.
Yep.
And he was on the other side of the board, right on the map.
Yeah.
And I was playing Black Templar, and I kept running into another friend of ours that we knew, and he was playing Nurgle army.
Like Corey, yeah.
Right? Corey. And like every time I tried to scout out with my army on the hex grid, I always encountered him, right? So it was Chaos Marines against Marines, and then all of a sudden Bill pops up and it's like, who's this?
Yeah.
Right? And then the next thing you know, the next weekend we're playing in his dad's garage, right? And then here we are now, still playing, still friends, still going, right?
Do you still have that Fallen army, or did they come back to being loyalists?
Oh, they fell.
They fell hard. By the end of that campaign, my army got surrounded by a full Deathwing Terminator army, and I'm talking like the old pewter Deathwing Terminators. Yes. He surrounded my whole army, and there was no quarter given. He just wiped me off the board, and
he hunted you down like the Fallen that you were.
Yeah, it was good. It was a lot of fun. Tons of fun.
That makes
a great story. Yeah, that's awesome.
That is exactly the kind of thing that we love in our stuff. Trying to push it as a middle ground between role-playing game, where things evolve and you take them as they are and you build on it, instead of canceling things because whatever, you build on things. That's what you did. And it's so cool. I'm hearing it and I'm like, I wish I would have played in that campaign. Either with my Fallen, or my Dark Angels, or the Alpha Legions of David, because he loves to be a chaos guy that doesn't assume himself.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I guess getting to the meat and potatoes. So you guys are having a Zone Mortalis event come the end of April.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the event name again? God Clash?
Oh, basically there's this convention that was, it's this year that it became a convention. The years before, it was a tournament. So it was only tournament with some contest of painting and stuff like that. Okay. This year, they decided to grow it into kind of like an Adepticon kind of thing. So they have, of course, tournaments. They have contests and demos for new games, and stores go there to represent their stores and sell stuff and whatever. And we talked with them to see if there was any interest into doing a narrative event. So in the middle of all the tournaments, we wanted to showcase the other part of the hobby that we talk about a lot on the podcast. And we brought this idea of doing a 2-day evolutive narrative event. So on Friday, people can come to the Grand Clash and play the event that is called Beta Garmin 2, Assault on Horizon Eventum Horizon, something like that.
Okay.
Because we call it in French, so I'm kind of translating it live.
That's okay.
So on Friday you have one scenario where the players the loyalists come to assault the bridge of a spaceship that is called the Horizon Eventum, and they try to take control of it. And there's a lot of narrative element into that scenario, and all those things that can be achieved, special objectives, secrets that I will not talk about here. I see you, David. I see you. He's looking at me through the camera. So like, don't go there. Don't, please, don't. So we have a lot of secrets. Again, the goal is to create a narrative where the players will feel immersed, and the choices they make during the scenario of Friday will impact what is still possible to do / what happens in Saturday. And same thing on Saturday, you have a second scenario. And then the goal is a bit different for the loyalist, or maybe not. We'll see. But yeah, so we wanted to showcase something a bit different. And I guess we were lucky that they invited us with open arms. They were like, we have never done this, but please come. Like, show us.
Well, it sounds awesome.
And it's interesting because, as Kevin said, they say they never done this before. And sometimes when exchanging with them, we're trying to explain what we want to do, and they don't necessarily understand what we're trying to do. So they talk to us about pairings, but we don't use pairings. Everyone's on the same table.
Yeah,
right.
And sometimes the communication is difficult because it's entirely new for them.
Yeah.
It's true. It's and I've kind of noticed it, and I'm sure Bill has noticed it too, with the different systems, the different games, and how they play. But you know, the guys are so used to doing these tournaments and whatnot. But then all of a sudden, you have this large battlefield. It has a narrative thing to it. Guys are just playing, right?
Yeah,
and it's.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was just saying the game gets crazy, but you can see the excitement and the fun these players are having interacting with each other, because you know these guys are trying to dislodge these Marines, you know, in this section because they got to try to hold that objective, you know, to help the team. And you know, you got two generals talking over here. I need support on this side, kind of thing. You know what I mean? You know, like they're trying to plot things out. It's like the big mega battles that we used to have back, you know, a few years back, right?
Fucking awesome.
You know, it's exactly that kind of idea that's in my head as you were talking about, you know, we've never done anything like this before. And I'm just like, we've done this kind of stuff before too. And it's great, right?
And that's why we blocked it basically at 16. Of course, as a convention, they would have loved for us to do like a 50 people event.
Yeah.
But for us, it didn't make any sense because it would not be manageable. And to give you an idea, we started this idea with it can only be a Zone Mortalis event.
Right.
We have this idea in our head. It doesn't make sense to put ruins or MDF. I don't know in English if MDF is the thing, but like MDF, the wooden, Okay. Yep. So it doesn't make sense for us to have ruins everywhere on the table. Exactly. Because we wanted to create a story of assaulting, boarding a ship, a spaceship. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to redo the Zone Mortalis, but we didn't have everything from back in the day of the Zone Mortalis. So we went through our pile of everything that we had that fitted. So that's how David came out with his Anger, which was the 4 tiles, so a 4x4 of Forge World. And it was like, that could be a perfect Anger inside of the ship that is being boarded. And then we came up with, okay, boarding action. It was already previewed by Games Workshop. So we thought, how many tiles do we have? Phil has a lot of the Necromunda tiles. So he said, guys, I have all these tiles and I can buy more. So we bought more tiles. And then we prepared for the boarding action boxes that would come out. And we bought basically every Kill Team box that came out with those terrain and 3 boarding action boxes.
Very nice.
So we have in total 3 to 4 boarding action boxes that will fill 8x4 of the 12x4.
Nice.
And you have maximum 8 players that will be loyalists and 8 players that will be traitors. And that was the idea. You can see now how having multiple tables would not fit.
Yeah.
We have to assemble and paint all of these things.
Sounds very familiar.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You've done this for your events, right?
We've been there.
I've seen you, some people binge Netflix. You binge sceneries.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God.
Terrain in 2 weeks? Yeah, we can do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh,
I just finished last week. We were painting the 4 tiles with David on a Sunday. We were calling ordering chicken on the phone. And this is what we're doing all day. We are painting those 4 tiles. And as we're doing it, David is like, okay, but I have ideas for this Anger and what we need to use to fill it up, because we want terrain on that too. There's not going to be corridors into that. So what can we use? And I was like, I have a pile of sprues of terrain that is unassembled and unpainted. Let's go and have fun. So we dug into it, and he made a pile of all the sprues that I should assemble and paint. And I was like, so this is your order? Okay. Add it into the cart, and I'll do it.
Awesome.
And last weekend, I did it all in 2 days, basically.
And Kevin was so cocky, I had it on the pile.
Yeah, he punished me for my
killer.
cocky.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Let's see,
it sounds exactly what we were doing last year. Just days and days of painting and just full out. I took time off of work, and I remember some days starting at 7 a.m. and then the boys would come over on a Friday, between 4 and 5, and we'd crank out till 9 or 10 at night, and it was 15, 16-hour days of just painting, just going to town.
And this is happening, in his garage, on his driveway, with all his neighbors passing by going, what are you doing?
Yeah, because we had 16 tables worth of terrain spread out on tables all over the driveway. Wow. It was just quite the spectacle. Cars would slow down as they're driving by. What the fuck are they doing?
Did you invite them with a big dry brush? Just stop by. I'll show you how to paint.
That's right.
Here's a brush. Here's some lead belcher.
There's a lot of interest, though. A lot of people, it wasn't the awkward, freaking nerds, kind of thing. It was more of people were actually intrigued and interested in, what's going on here? What's this? What is this for? Yeah. Right? Which was pretty cool, right?
Yes, we are not where we were back in the day. We are all pretty much the same age, as I figure out, I guess. And back in the day, nerds, we would be called out in school and be like, oh, this hobby is for nerds. You shouldn't like this. Like, it's not okay for you to love this. And now you don't have that. My girlfriend, friends of mine, like right now on my camera, you cannot see all of my hobby room, but I have a lot of shelves full of models. And everyone that comes to my place, when they see my hobby room, they are amazed at all the models. And even some of them ask me, like, can we play a game?
Nice.
We're not where we were back then. The interest is there.
It's true. It is true.
So it's changed. It's changed. Sure. Which is great. And a lot of the hobby stores have like really, well, I should say hobby, but like gaming stores. Because we have a few of them here that like every single day there's games happening and there's new people in those stores, and different communities and different games and different just aspects of life coming in. Yeah. Right. Which is awesome.
I think that, like, if you can say the one benefit from having all the pandemic and everything was the hobby itself, tabletop, seemed to just catapult to popularity because people are fucking bored. They're at home. They don't know what to do with themselves. They're like, what am I going to do? And then, like, all these people started buying models and started painting. And I know for the longest time we were having Discord paint nights as well, just trying to, have some normalcy, paint face to face and just having laughs, and people would keep jumping on. They're like, I just, heard you guys talking and decided to jump into this game. And we're like, oh shit. A year later, we're all playing again. And it's just awesome.
Yeah, I discovered you guys, the podcast, during the pandemic.
Oh,
I was searching for podcasts that were different. And I'll be honest, I discovered yours and I was like, these guys seems to be having fun. Like, it was contagious to hear the fun you were having on the podcast about your hobby.
Yep.
And just that in itself, it was not like giving me information. In a way, information as a hobbyist, I've been in it for long enough that I already have it.
Yeah.
But the fun that you were having and the information given was inspiring me and inspiring some of my friends, because that's how we shared your podcast between each other.
Nice.
So we listened to you guys.
Well, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Shameless plug.
That's awesome.
No, it's always good to hear that, especially hearing how just things were and then how things are thriving now, even like over at your end locally. It just sounds like there's a healthy amount. So the Zone Mortalis, 16 players. How many people do you have in your whole local?
That would be difficult to count, I would say, because as we organize, let's say when the new Horus Heresy 2.0 came out, we were talking on a podcast about the Horus Heresy for such a long time. Like, when the first rumors came out, you saw images online with the rulers and the white dice and Terminators, but a weird tank. Yeah. It was not Forge Worlds, new Praetors.
Yeah.
So starting there, we were talking about Horus Heresy 2.0, about a new box, what we would do with it. And after that, when the new box came out, we're like, we have to do something with this. So we created a campaign that would be like 3 scenarios, 1 scenario a month, where people had to play that scenario. So I would send the scenario online. People had to play that scenario the number of times they want. I don't care. And the idea was, if your army is fully painted, you get this bonus, mostly rerolls and stuff like that. And if it's not painted, then work on it. And by the end of the campaign, on the 3rd scenario, I will give you a bonus if it's done. So you had like 3 months to do a slow grow kind of thing. Yeah. So we were starting from 500 points to 1,000 points in 3 months. That was pretty cool. We had like 12, 15 people coming in.
Awesome.
But I would say the interests in Horus Heresy kind of dipped down a bit because there was a lot of 40k coming out and a lot of Age of Sigmar coming out.
Yeah.
And we were still waiting for all the special weapons. Like, it was at the point, where the Age of Darkness box was bolters, dreadnought, Terminators, tank.
Yeah, and everyone's waiting for their options. They want all the extra goodies. Yeah.
And Forge World was out of stock of pretty much everything.
Yeah.
So it was kind of difficult, I would say, towards the third months to be like, yeah, you as a player were in Horus Heresy for such a long time. You have your collection ready. You are a new player and you're waiting to have something else than a bolter and a plasma pistol. So that was kind of difficult.
But wait, before that, we had a great start. Because just before they released it, we had campaigns where we did the Plague War with our friend Francois. And all the people who played the campaign with us, and we had one game per month based on the books. Francois read all the books. He taken quote, put them in the player's pack for us to read. And all the players that played with us, most of them, we would talk with them about the 30K coming out. And then we would hype ourselves. So they jumped in the bandwagon at the time, and we all started with that. So it did help grow the community around our small group.
Yeah,
oh, that's awesome.
And there's a lot of players. I think they're just waiting for events to happen. And most of the events organizers are mostly towards tournament for 40K and Age of Sigmar around us. So we are organizing the event of Horus Heresy that will be happening. I would be curious after we do that, where we can go. It's because we are organizing this event at the Grand Clash, which is in Trois-Rivières, so like an hour and a half away from Montreal. So people that are in Montreal that doesn't want to drive that hour and a half more, but are waiting for events to happen in Montreal, these people, we still don't know who they are. So the community could be so much bigger. Yeah. But just on our community page, you can see a lot of Horus Heresy popping up here and there. So
nice.
I guess it's our next step. Bringing the Zone Mortalis back to Montreal.
Yeah. Make it a big icebreaker event. And yeah, who knows how many people you could get involved. That'd be awesome.
True. And maybe you'll make the trip.
You never know.
I can light up the Pharaohs for you. I'll do it.
Awesome.
And David has been a real trooper because I talked about me working on all the terrains and stuff. Phil working on the tiles. And I don't know if you know Miles David.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Him and Miles are pretty close. So they have been talking about a lot of different little stuff that we can keep as surprises. I know, David. I know you're still looking at me with those eyes. I see you. Yeah, he's thinking that I'm going to give out surprises. Yeah. I know. No, I'm not. But, so Miles has been a really good trooper too to help us out, and David has been the one working on the scenarios. So awesome. We all separated the stuff, and Max is the helper of the group. So during the event, we are not playing. And our job is not rule lawyering. Our job is immersion. How can I take your problem or your question and make it into a narrative thing? And so it would be to be the MC, if you want, or the dungeon master of this event. So David created both of the scenarios from scratch. I'm pretty sure looking at his bolt action book.
That sounds wild. Yeah, no, I definitely love to hear how it goes. We might have to do a follow-up episode with you guys and just tell us how it went, how the 8-on-8 Zone Mortalis event go, because myself,
it will be our pleasure.
As well, I am working on Zone Mortalis. I've got enough to do 3 4x4s. And I have an old 4x4 Forge World table as well. And I bought a bunch of the old, a bunch of the newer Necromunda tiles with just a shit ton of Necromunda kits, tons of Sector Mechanicus kits, pretty much anything that's been coming out that I can slap on that board, I'm slapping it on. And then
there's a lot.
There's a ton of it. And I've actually looked at buying subfloor tiling that come in like 1x1 sections. To mount the tiles on so they're the same height as the Forge World ones.
Yes.
So you can actually connect them all together and make like these massive tables. And pretty much right where you guys are at. It's just grinding and trying to get everything done, and just it never ends. There's always something.
I'm sure there'll be a big
paint push
for getting Zone Mortalis stuff all done up.
Oh yeah,
in the future, right? So
please do.
Zone Mortalis is an interesting challenge when you're doing scenarios, because I'm used to read battles like on the plane, two armies against each other, or the D-Day people, digging on the beaches. But in a ship, it's kind of a different battle. So you have to think what's happening in a ship.
Yeah.
What kind of, objective I can put that makes sense in a ship. So it's quite an interesting challenge.
Oh, excellent. Definitely.
You got to get these guys in the engine room in order to unlock those, this and that kind of thing, right? And you start thinking of those corridors, the kill zones, the hangars, or their force fields, or you can go with anything and everything, right? Is there security servitors coming at you, kind of thing? Just
the first thing that came into our head when we talked about it. David, can I talk about the lights? Can I talk?
Yeah.
Okay. I have his permission. That's good. The first thing that we had into our head was, okay, there has to be a control room. It's a ship. It has to have a control room. How can we make that into an active part of the game without making it the objective of the game, the goal? And we talked about using the control room to control the lights on certain parts of the boards. So even if you're on the furthest end of the table, you can still help your teammates that are on the other side of the table by switching the lights on and off and using the night fight rules.
Yeah.
And it's simple, but it will make that you, player number 4, on the farthest end of one table, still feel like you're playing with player number 6, which is on the other end of the table. You're still part of the same team. It's not 4, 5, 6, 8 armies walking next to one another and just ignoring each other. There's communication. I think you said it before, like, okay, guys, we're surrounded. What can we do? Close the lights.
Sure.
Like we're Night Lords. Close the lights. We can use this.
Watch
and that's
watch
just it.
Work.
That's just it. Like even during like deployment, okay, you got six guys with their forces, and it's like, okay, well, we have different sections of the ship that we all have to go into and claim some objectives, and then like change things. Okay, you got to get the engine room, you got to get the control room for lights, you got to get the security panels to make sure that those barriers are unlocked so they can get through, kind of thing, right? So then you start thinking, okay, well, I'm playing Imperial Fists, for example,
Yes.
where would I excel on this mission, right? And then you guys as generals, 5, 6 generals talk about it.
Yeah.
And it just makes the experience so much better. And wilder, right? Because then all of a sudden, Night Lord's on the other side of the table. This is going to be a good fight, right? Like it's going to be just stuff like that, Yeah. So,
and what do you do if you're an Imperial Fist player and there's Iron Warriors on the other end of the table? Where do you deploy? Do you deploy in front of them because you want to go at it?
Of course.
That's true. You got the grudge matches, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. Absolutely. Oh, that's awesome. It sounds like it'll be a lot of fun. I know myself, even for some inspiration for my zone board, because the Forge World one, I had a lot of green stuff work done to it, and I took a lot of inspiration from the Heresy novel Wolfsbane. So when they're actually attacking the Vengeful Spirit, and it gives a lot of cool descriptions. So I've got chunks of skin all over the wall and like demonic tentacles, and there's mouths on the wall, and there's eyes and shit, like because the ship's actually transforming, it's like getting demonic. And then I'll airbrush and make it look like flesh, and I'm trying to really amp it up. But a lot of that I got from those Heresy books, Wolfsbane being the main one. So
awesome.
There's lots of cool scenes in that book. If you are ever short on ideas, that'll get you sorted for sure.
And have you read the last Horus Heresy book? I don't want to spoil anyone. I will not spoil
I've
anyone.
got 4 hours left of the end of the death for my audiobook, so I'm getting to the end, and the book's been phenomenal so far. So
you see the vengeful spirit at the end of its run, basically.
it's pretty crazy.
It's amazing. So what you're describing is bringing me exactly there.
Yeah.
How do you represent the vengeful spirit at the end of its corruption?
Yeah. And it's I'll have a lot of fun painting that once I'm at that step, because it's just sky's the limit for that kind of stuff. So no, that's great, guys. I love hearing about kind of what you have planned, and I definitely like to see pictures, and I'd like to get a follow-up episode planned with you guys, so we could get the feedback from it, see how it went. So
for sure.
You know what'd be pretty cool too is collaborating, of course, is if you guys are doing your Zone Mortalis kind of thing, but would have kind of your guys' results kind of affect
I see where you're going.
You know what I mean?
You're talking. Oh yes. Oh yes.
Right? Like the start of a campaign, your result. This has gone through my head even for bolt action, because I do a lot
crusade.
of exactly,
right? That speaks about a great crusade. It sounds like a great crusade.
So there you go. Like, and just everybody that seems to be on the same page, right? On that same level of what they would like to bring to the table.
Yeah. For
the communities, for the players, and having that passion to do it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's all about the passion. It's all about the passion. Whether you're passionate about tournaments and it's the FAQs that gets your engine running, or it's the narrative campaign like Vigilis or Arcs of Omen or whatever the new campaigns that comes out. If it's making you passionate, that's what it's about. It's a hobby. If you're not passionate about it, what are you doing this? Go play Spider-Man on PS5.
Yeah, realistically,
it's a lot cheaper, but
I don't know. I can Warhammer everywhere. PS, I have trouble finding them.
That is true.
But yeah, I like your idea of across Canada kind of thing. I know me and Bill talked here and there about 40K a while ago, so we're already in contact. So I think we can make something happen.
That's absolutely, absolutely. Well, I know that the time difference is definitely killer for you guys. So,
hey, we're getting to midnight here.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
It's not horrible, I guess. Yeah.
No. I was able to hit the gym just before we recorded the episode, so.
And I'm not the one getting up for children tomorrow morning, so I'm good.
Yeah. Ooh, there you go. Yeah. There you go.
Nice.
It's true. Well, yeah, I just want to say thank you again, both of you, for coming on and chatting with us, and thanks, Kevin, for reaching out and chatting with me on Facebook. Anytime you guys ever want to jump on and talk about Heresy, show pictures, collaborate however we can, I'm definitely down. So it's a lot of 100%. Fun to reach out and connect with people that are in the same country. It's because it's not outside the realm of possibility to be able to meet up and actually put, faces to real faces and go to events.
I'm curious about like how much time is it between, let's say, Quebec, Montreal, and you guys? I don't know. Like Toronto is like 7 hours.
Yeah.
So I don't know you guys. Let's say I swim. Let's say I swim up to you guys.
Swim up?
I'm kidding.
Take forever. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe it's not feasible. I told you I need David to point me towards the right direction. I'm already lost.
We'll brush up your geography.
No,
don't try to educate me on other podcasts. This is once a week is enough.
Oh, that's killer.
Yeah.
Funny.
That is killer. And just for all of our listeners listening in too, we'll have links to the descriptions for the painting night, and you'll be able to check out their Facebook page and follow along with the event as well. Everything that they're posting on the socials. which I definitely recommend checking it out. I was poking around on your Facebook page.
Oh.
I liked it and kind of jumped in and was looking around. So I saw lots of pictures and it looks really good. So I'm definitely looking forward to following up with the Zone Mortalis stuff.
Thank you. The podcast that we record every week, that we've been doing for a year now, a bit more than a year, we're pretty proud of it. I'm saying pretty because I'm trying to be humble because David is there.
Yeah.
But let's say we're fucking proud of it.
There you go.
And, well, you know what though? That goes without saying. If you're putting something out consistently every week, and Andy and I both know that struggle.
Mhm.
But if you're doing it every week, you've been going for a year. Like, congratulations, guys! Like that's a big commitment every week for a year. Like we're on. This is our third year doing the same thing every week, and it's a lot of work. I definitely get it. So kudos to you guys. If you can keep doing it, it's awesome.
Yeah, and you've grown. Like, I've seen your podcast grow in the past 3 years, and it's amazing the number of people that you get in there compared to where you were in the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much the same thing with us. Mm. Like, it's in French, yes, but all of our events are bilingual. Yeah. Like the one that we're doing for Zone Mortalis, we have a player's guide for French, for English. Awesome. We did a Warcry event that was fully narrative too for Halloween, and it was bilingual too, French, English. Yeah. We do a painting night every month live at a store that we have near us. Nice. That is one of our sponsors. It's called Abyss, and that store, we go there once a month, painting night. We have around 20 to 30 people showing up every month painting. We have people that do D&D, that do anything from beginners to pros to narrative,
and different generation too.
Different generations,
teenager and retired people. Yeah. That's awesome.
Wow,
that's pretty cool. They know that we are bilingual, so they come and talk to us. We're gonna show them how to paint. We're gonna show them how to build. We're gonna show them how to play. I went to that store multiple times to show people how to play 40K, how to play Age of Sigmar. I know there's some that are still waiting for me, but I'm planning a wedding. I'm really sorry. It's a lot of commitment.
So Kevin is selling them stuff, showing them how to paint, and I try to talk to them about Waterloo, and then people flee.
Just trying to slip the narrative, the historical in there. Hey, yeah.
Again, trying to educate people, but it needs to come with a trigger warning first, and he's not there yet. So.
Yeah,
that's funny.
But yeah, so we do a lot of things that are bilingual. So even if the podcast in itself is not in English, because we do it in French, everything that we post on Soiree Peinture, La Communauté, so the community page, people are bilingual in there. So English, French, or both, whatever, doesn't matter.
Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
That is awesome. And I'll definitely follow along and even post some stuff that I've got going on.
Yeah, please.
Right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Especially some, I don't want to put you on the spotlight, but like the Outriders, the Outriders projects, I want to see where it ends.
Oh, yeah, you will. I mean, if you've seen some of my other White Scars that I did, every design on each bike is different.
Yes.
So it's the exact same thing that probably will happen to these guys as well. Yeah. So,
and the same thing with the Sigismund. I saw the Sigismund this morning, and I was like, "Shit! I should have thought of that." I have the same model. I'm doing an Imperial Fist army. I should have done this.
But your Sigismund would end up with the Thunder Hammer, pretty sure.
Oh, don't go there. Don't go there. You don't want to know. I know your episode has like an hour or something. You don't want to get into that anecdote. The next time we come, I can tell that anecdote. Okay, and let's not invite David because he's going to have another version of this anecdote.
Oh, killer. I'm definitely down to catch up on that.
Well, yeah, I'll reach out to you afterwards.
For sure. Well, yeah, thank you so much, guys, for jumping on. Again, we really appreciate it. And yeah, thanks to all the listeners tuning in. And we will definitely catch you next time.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Bye.